It's no secret I am a huge fan of therapy. It's one of the most important ways I've supported my own growth over the years, which is why I do not recommend platforms lightly. This month, Courage Class has partnered with Anise Health, an AAPI-focused online therapy platform I have personally used. And from the very first session, I felt very understood. My therapist immediately recognized my struggle with perfectionism and understood it through a cultural lens without judgment or without me having to over-explain. I laughed and I cried and I left feeling lighter. That's what culturally attuned care should feel like. If therapy is something you're considering, Anise is offering a free intake session this month using my code COURAGE2026, all one word. So go to Anise Health, that's www.anisehealth.co, complete the intake form, less than 5 minutes, and get matched with a therapist who understands your lived experience. Welcome to Courage Class. I'm Dr. Lindsay Q, and each week I'm in conversation with our community's changemakers and trailblazers. Together, we explore the unspoken parts of our Asian and Western experiences, finding strength, growth, and healing that reflect who we truly are, not who we've been told to be. I'm so glad you're here. Class is now in session. Hey, Courage Class. So if you grew up in a collectivist family where overgiving was praised, rest felt selfish, and boundaries felt impossible, today's episode is for you. So today in Courage Class, I'm sitting down with Corie Chu. She's an intuitive energy healer, a Reiki Master Teacher, and numerologist, and we're talking about spirituality, but without the woo-woo. We get into why your body holds stress and emotion, how overgiving shows up in your health, and why boundaries, especially micro boundaries, are actually a spiritual practice. Today's episode is about protecting your energy, honoring your culture, and learning how to return to yourself without cutting people off. So let's get into it. I would love to, Corie, to just start out the gate, if that's okay.
Okay.
And define what is spirituality and what is it not?
Spirituality is anything that can help you connect with yourself. I'm gonna give credit to my sifu who said this to me. He was like, spirituality can be anything. It could be anything that helps you connect with yourself in a deeper way. I think oftentimes we think of spirituality as something that's like a little bit, I know it's a little stereotypical, but a little bit more airy fairy, a little bit more
Totally.
new
Like
age.
woo-woo, like I'm
Yeah,
gonna meditate
like
on a mountain for like,
meditate
yes,
exactly.
yes.
Like you have to meditate every day and then have green juice and then you do
Yeah.
yoga and then you connect with your feelings so deeply. I don't know. To
Yeah.
me, spirituality is what helps you return to you.
Oh,
So it could be anything. It could be if you find comfort in religion and you find yourself through that, that's beautiful.
yeah.
If you find looking at the water, at the ocean, a way to connect with yourself, that's beautiful, right?
Yes.
If yoga works for you,
Yeah.
if meditation really works for you, it's whatever returns to you, whatever helps you connect to a truer side of yourself where you can be honest with yourself.
Yes.
Um, yeah. So I would say it doesn't have to be that. Um, like my partner, he loves coding
Okay.
and I see him do it and I'm like, wow, that's his spirituality. Like he can code for hours and hours. And he was like, it makes me calm. I feel so good. I feel at peace. It's just easy. And that to him is, I don't think he would call it a spiritual thing, but to me, I see it as wow, this is really grounding for him.
Yeah.
That's spiritual, right? So anything can be.
Oh, I just love that you just said that. And I never, in my wildest dreams, would I ever think that I would have gotten chills when someone said that's a spiritual practice to code. Like I got feels when you said that, because I'm not a coder, obviously, but
Me
but
neither.
see, but so many people can relate to what you just said, because what you just said is it's basically anything that helps
Anything.
you return to yourself. And
Yeah.
what the type of spirituality I feel like I have maybe consumed on social media, or hearing maybe some of the more woo woo ish, it always feels like it's supposed to be like meditation or like walking in nature and having a practice of gratitude. And all of those can be
Absolutely.
indeed like spiritual practices. But what's important is that it's all about what helps you return to yourself and feel more anchored. And I just love that so much. And it feels very accessible to
Yeah.
me.
That's the
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
think what is supposed to be
Mm,
spirituality
yeah.
has made it so inaccessible. Like, there's so many steps, there's so many rituals, there's so many things to be aware of before you start something. And some people will be like, oh, I can only do energy healing in the morning because that's
Mm,
when the best time when everything's clean. And like, it's
yeah.
not necessarily just that, right? Like,
Yes.
it could be any time. When's a good time to work on yourself? Anytime, right?
Yeah.
Maybe like certain practices, if you're gonna do some more yang based things, like, running. Like, I personally think, oh, running in the morning is better than running at night because
Mm,
I wouldn't be able to go to sleep. But some people find it as a way to release. And then they're like, oh my God, I just hit the bed and I just fall asleep. Right. So
yes.
there is no supposed to be, really. There's recommendations, there's suggestions.
Yes.
I was just thinking this morning, like how people say, oh, you should have watch, like, have screen time before going to bed. You shouldn't watch TV. You shouldn't be on your phone before you
Mm,
go to bed. Like, how do you subscribe to that? Like, how do you
yeah.
feel about that? I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
I'm terrible with it. I'm always on my screen right before I go to bed.
Right.
To be
Okay.
totally
And what are
honest.
you doing? Like, are you scrolling? Are you reading?
It's a combination of both. Sometimes, well, maybe I'm like reading a book, but usually like when I'm on my screen, I'm like scrolling mindlessly, you
Right,
know?
right,
So,
right. Like, for
yeah.
me, I need to listen to something before I fall
Mm,
asleep.
mm,
So, inevitably, there is something, right?
yes.
And then I have to turn it off. So, I'm looking at a screen before I go to bed. So, it's not for everyone. I fully understand, like, it is probably healthier and does a lot more for
Totally.
someone. And
Yeah.
you have better quality sleep if you do not look at a screen before
Yeah.
go to bed. But no, I
Yeah.
think it's just whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you. And that's really what today's conversation is going to be more about. And I'm excited to dig into that. But you did just mention your energy healing work. And
Yes.
so, Corie, before we get into a deeper discussion around energy, I would just love for our listeners, our community here at Courage Class, to learn a little bit more about you and your journey. I mean, you went from working in the entertainment industry and you were full on like hustling hard, working, to spending time in Argentina to become a Reiki master and intuitive energy healer. I mean, that journey is just extraordinary to me. So, could you share what was the moment that you realized that this was your path?
I would say the biggest turning point was in 2014.
Mm,
Um, that was when I knew I had to go, like, I wanted to go full time for sure, like, all in.
okay.
But before that, it was in my mid 20s. I was still an assistant. I was working at Paramount, and I really I fell into working in Hollywood. I fell into working at a film production company. I
Okay.
never expected to do that. I loved working PR. The idea of working in publicity was really exciting to me when I was younger.
Yeah.
In college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then one thing led to another, and I started interning because I knew I liked communications, but I didn't know like what aspect. And then I went into working at talent agencies, at PR agencies, and then eventually started temping actually at Paramount. And then I was just on a short contract, and then my boss really liked me and then asked me to stay on, and I was like, yeah, sure. And I have to say, it was also right when the economy was not doing well. And so there was a bit of safety there. Like I was like, okay, I really
Okay.
want a full-time job that was able to make me feel a little bit more financially secure, as well as my parents to not worry, because I'm already not being a doctor, lawyer, whatever. and
You and me both, girl. I'm like, whatever.
let's not
Yes.
disappoint them all the way, and let's be reasonable here,
Let's be
okay? And
reasonable.
so I liked what we were doing. It was really cool. I felt so privileged, but it also killed me in a way
Oh,
because I was working long hours, as was everyone else in the
mm,
industry. It's just how things are, right? You don't get paid a lot, but you work incredibly long hours and you don't really have an off button. And the lifestyle was really unhealthy. I was trying to pack everything in, eating lunch at my desk, going to bed super late, sometimes even like 2 in the morning if it was like award season or if we were pushing a campaign, like when a movie was about to go out. And then it was like eating dinner at sometimes, I don't know, like ridiculously late hours, like sometimes 9, sometimes midnight, or
yeah.
I'm having like a really late night
Totally.
snack. And then I wake up, I sleep for like 3, 4 hours, and I go spinning because I feel like I'm supposed to.
Yes.
When really, if you look at it now, it's like I should have just gone more sleep. And it ticked a box. I went spinning, went home, went back to work, and then it was another day, right? And for me, why I stayed was because I genuinely loved the people that I
Mm,
worked with. Yes, of course, like, it can be sometimes there were moments where it was really toxic. And sometimes when we were going through some challenges, it was just really nice because we were doing it together.
mm,
Um, and that's one of the reasons why I stayed as long as I did.
okay.
But because of how imbalanced the lifestyle was,
Mm,
I needed something that I felt like I was doing it for me, and just to take care of myself. And back then, the concept of self-care didn't exist. Like
yeah, I was
nobody
gonna say,
nobody heard of that, right? It wasn't
totally.
a thing.
Yeah, like how dare you be so selfish and like take care of yourself, I feel like,
Right.
especially
What
back then. Yeah.
and the thing is, like, everyone was doing it. The executives were definitely doing it,
Okay.
right? We're the ones who were like
Totally.
first ones in, last ones out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
to say that they weren't working hard. They were in their own way, right? They were smarter and they were more strategic about it. And so when we didn't have a movie to open and we had some time in between, I started taking more time out. I would try to drive home before sunset and just watch the sunset at the ocean. I was living in Santa Monica at the time,
Wow.
and that was really nice. Or I
Yeah.
would try to fit in like even a simple yoga class or something I really enjoyed. And I had this really beautiful armchair from IKEA that I parked in the corner of my room, and I would just take out a book and I was reading. Like that was just something that was like, whoa, that's nice. That's a nice feeling, right? And that was the beginning of when I was like, oh, wait, we need balance. We can't just keep going.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, we're not machines. I mean,
Yeah,
you said so many things I feel like people are going to be able to grab onto. I mean, I was writing down like you had this safety net that you were feeling, you were ticking those boxes. I feel like so many of us can identify with this idea, or not even this idea. For me, it was like an active list. I was like, got this done, got this done, got this done. Like I was just like sort of unconsciously going through like what I had to do. And I was so imbalanced. And Corey, you said that you just weren't feeling this balance in your life
right, right.
and and that's ultimately what compelled you to start even considering that, which I just think is so incredible because there's so many of us who are just sort of moving through our days without that sort of just that the maturity that you had to like even see that and feel that in your body. I think is really, to me, it's really incredible.
I think
Oh,
also when you are at that state where you're
uh,
just so stressed out, even you can't
yeah.
do anymore, it's not really an option anymore, right? You
Uh,
just have to lean in and be like,
Totally.
okay,
Totally.
how do I take care of
Yeah.
myself? So one of my supervisors, she was 30 at the time,
Yeah.
and she had breast cancer. And we
Okay.
were like, oh my gosh, I was in my early 20s at the time, so I thought, wow,
Yeah.
30 is it feels so far away. I don't have to worry about this. And then I look at it again, I'm like, wait a minute, hold
Yeah.
on. It's a
Yeah.
few years away. It's
Yeah.
really not that
Yeah.
far away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was stressed and all the time. She ticked a lot of boxes. She had a lot going on in her life, and a lot of it made her feel like she was thriving. And there were a lot of obligations. She's also Asian. And so she also had to take care of family in some ways. And it was just
It's a lot. Yeah.
awakening to be like, okay, I don't want to live like that. And she inspired us to reconsider our life options, like
Mm.
how can we take better care of ourselves while we're here doing what we do,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I think there's just a turning point for everyone. There's a point where you're like, I'm maxed out. I can't keep living like this, so something has to change. And
Yes.
for me, it was finding little ways to add it into my day, whether it be trying to make it home before sunset or
Mm.
taking a walk around or the block and doing yoga or reading a book. One thing that I started doing on Sunday mornings at the time was going to this Afro-Brazilian samba class.
That's
It's
so
still going
cool.
on, by the way, in Venice, if you ever
Wow.
want to check it out, but
That's
it happens
incredible.
every Sunday morning.
Okay.
And the woman who runs it is named Vita, and she incorporated Qigong practices in the beginning as warm up exercises before we started dancing.
Mm.
Those movements felt so familiar. I couldn't figure out where I got them from until a few classes later on. I went in and I'm like, this really feels familiar. And she was like, it's Qigong. And I'm like, oh. So I started doing Qigong when I was 6, when I was with my parents,
Oh,
and
no
we
kidding.
would do Qigong as a family with my aunt and family
Wow.
friends.
Yeah.
I just didn't remember that, right?
That's
But then I
wild.
was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, my body remembers, obviously. That's why I was like, this
Mm.
is something familiar. And it felt right. And that was actually when I was reminded again, oh, I've been adulting really hard. I forgot about this basic energy practice that I learned from childhood.
Wow.
And that was my big circle back, actually.
Yeah, that's really incredible. No, I appreciate you sharing that. I feel like just, the spiritual practices that you incorporated, or driving to watch the sunset, or feeling those movements and remembering those movements, like to me, just feels like you were like in the process of like returning to yourself essentially from all the
Yeah.
hard hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think it just shows up in different ways for
yeah,
everybody. And
yeah.
one point that I really want to make is that there is no one size fits all
Yes,
solution or the way that it shows up. I think a
yeah,
lot of people expect it to be like, I'm waiting for a call from the universe that's loud and in front of me. Actually, no, it will show up exactly in the way that you are meant to hear it,
uh,
personally tailored by the universe for you.
delivered to you. Yes,
Right. And for
yes,
me, it just showed up that way. Right. And I've met a lot of yoga teachers who quit their corporate jobs and maybe got sick or something happened. And then it inspired them to change into a different lifestyle, to have a different
mm,
lifestyle.
yeah,
Right. And
yeah.
there are many of those stories. Um, but it's very personal, whatever is meant to happen,
Yes.
however it's meant to show up for you, whether
Yeah.
through coding or through
Yes.
watching the sunset, like
Yes.
it could be anything. It
Absolutely.
speaks to you.
It speaks to you. I just love that so much because it's such a personalized experience and it's something that you really get to drive, right? You really get to ask yourself, you have an opportunity to say, what feels good in my body? I'm going to go with that, even though
Yeah.
this is what everyone else, and it's almost like you're using this sort of like internal compass to help you identify like what are those practices that make me feel good, and it's like teaching you, I feel like, to rely on your own your own knowing, like your own intuition. And that feels incredibly powerful. Like when I
Yeah.
hear you talking about, no, it's like personalized, it's tailored, it's like what you choose. I just love that so much. Corey, you just mentioned something that really stood out to me. You said that your body remembered those movements, the Qigong movements. And I've heard you say before that our body holds memory, emotion, and negative energy. Is it okay if we shift gears rather into talking about protecting our
Yeah.
energy?
Yeah.
And the way that, and I want to share with our listeners, the way that you and I met. I actually originally went to you. I visited your office in Hong Kong, and I didn't know a lot about energy. I just knew that I wanted to make amends with this city that had at some times, at some points in my life, made me very, very upset. And I kind of wanted to bury the hatchet. And the best way that I could understand how to do that was to cleanse the energy. And I remember, Corey, I didn't know what to expect. And it was such a magical experience. And I could feel it in my body. Now, I will preface this courage class by saying, like, I didn't know what to expect. And I was not as deeply interested in energy work as I am today. I was sort of curious about it. And when you placed your hands hovering over my body, I could literally feel things moving in my body. And when you would stop, that sensation for me would stop. It was unexplainable to me, the way things were sort of shifting and moving in my body. I really credit that time with you, Corey, as putting me on this whole like complex healing journey that I've been, down the road, like with therapy and trying to find my own return to my own spiritual practices. Um, would you be willing to talk about your intuitive energy healing and therapy work? How has also helped clients tune more into their own energy or their own intuition?
Hmm. I mean, obviously, I could talk about this for hours,
Yes,
but let me
yes.
try to
Yeah.
simplify it.
Mm.
So I call it intuitive energy healing because that's what feels right and aligned to me. So just to back up a little bit, I'm a Reiki Master Teacher.
Hmm.
So I would say that my intuitive energy healing practice is an advanced form of Reiki. Now,
Okay.
for those who don't know what Reiki is, it is a very foundational type of channeled energy healing. The thing is, anyone can learn Reiki. You could learn Reiki tomorrow if you wanted to. And it is a system that is available to anyone who wants to learn hands on healing. And it is safe for anyone to receive. It's like an energy first aid tool.
Oh,
And it is
I
so
love
cool.
that.
Intuitive energy healing practice is an advanced form of Reiki because it's much more specialized. I specialize in emotional healing.
Okay.
So, emotional healing, emotional release. Meaning, if our body has been holding on to anger from 15 years ago or sadness from 10 years ago, those are moments in life and
Yeah.
that we have not dealt with from those experiences. Essentially like talk therapy, right? You talk about it, the
Yeah.
emotion comes up, right? But then what do you do with it?
Yeah.
It's still in your body. You could
Yeah.
talk about it, but the bulk of that energy is still in the body. The bulk of those emotions might still be in the body. So my practice is to work layer by layer. And I
Oh,
know it sounds like it could be a lot,
yeah.
right? But it's not up to me in an energy healing session how much your body releases. Using your experience
Yeah.
as a reference point, the moment I placed my hands and started working on you, you started feeling that wave of energy move, the gargling.
Yes.
That's just when the resource, let's call it, of energy healing is there and your body is responding to it.
Mm.
Okay. So your body is actually dictating how much it wants to release, how safe it feels releasing, first of all,
Yeah.
and then how much it wants to release. It's so smart because it knows how much to release so that it doesn't hurt your physical body. Because imagine you've released so much negative energy
Yeah.
and it's too much, then your body takes a toll. It takes
Oh,
a hit. And this is also something that I want to mention because a lot of people come in with false impressions like, I want to release this, all of this in one go. I'm like, that's not happening. There's no way.
I think that that's kind of what I wanted. But
There's no
no,
way.
honestly, Corie, like it's like I actually that makes so much sense now looking back on it because I had so much more work to do around some specific things that happened to me related to Hong Kong, like getting
Right.
talk therapy and it's like my body knew that it was time to get things moving. It was like revving the engine. What you're saying makes so much sense to me. If I would have released everything in that one go, which you just said cannot happen, I don't think I would have been spiritually or emotionally mature enough to handle that, if that makes sense. I just feel like I needed to go on that journey. I'm still on the journey, by the way, but like I needed
I'm
like,
glad you are.
yeah, what I'm trying to say is what you're saying makes so much sense when I think about it in the context of my own experience. Like my
It's,
body knew, the universe
yeah,
knew.
your body knows,
Yeah,
and it knows when and how much it can handle.
yeah,
If it's the right energy healing for
yeah,
it to receive,
yeah.
it knows so much.
It knows
Our
so
body
much.
consciousness is
Yeah.
crazy. I just want to mention our journey. Unfortunately, I used to think like, oh my God, I can't wait until I achieve nirvana and I'm so at peace. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, amazingly zen every day.
I
And
love that. Yeah.
it was just so naive.
Yeah.
It's like I wanted to race to the end of the journey so that I could feel good enough and then I will be happy and it will be like that
And
for
then I will be happy.
forever,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's just so naive because the journey is always going to keep going, right? And I know
Totally.
that sounds daunting and awful to some people. They're like,
Yeah.
what? To me, the journey ends when your life ends
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's just part of it. It's part
It's
of
just
what you
part of
do.
it. But that's also why you have spiritual practices, right? Because life is so like there's
Up
ups
and
and there's
down, up and
downs
down.
and there's
Yeah.
curveballs. Like there's no such thing as like zen all the time or peace or calm
No.
all the time. Like it's an unattainable metric. That's even
Yeah.
like the way how we should phrase it in the spiritual column. But it's just like it's not achievable. You're not going to get ever to that destination. And this
Yep.
is why spirituality and the practices, understanding what works for you and being attuned to what you need, what makes you feel good,
Yeah.
that's really what we're trying to encourage people to consider today.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I
No,
just
no.
got really excited.
Yeah, no,
Um,
go.
very unmindful of me, by the way.
Stop, please. Stop. 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 We don't have to be polite
Joking.
Asian people on this. Talk.
Totally
Go.
joking.
Corie, I want to hear you.
No, I just want to say, like, one of the things that actually brought comfort to me
Mm,
is I follow Plum Village. I don't know if you've heard of it.
mm-mm.
It's a Zen Buddhist community that I think Nat Han started. And
Oh,
it's amazing. And they have a center called Deer Park Monastery in Oceanside. And I did this online course with them last year. What I found comfort in was hearing about monks not getting along in their own community.
oh,
And
yeah.
I know that sounds juicy and gossipy, but think about it. They are human and
We're all
they are
human. Yeah.
also trying so hard to practice spirituality in their day to day. And there are moments where there isn't harmony,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like just a bit of relieving, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
hear, like, wow, even people who have dedicated their entire lives
Yeah.
to practicing Zen have challenges
Yeah.
within their own community.
Yeah.
It makes it like, okay that we don't get
Totally.
along with our brothers and sisters, or we don't get along with our bosses or colleagues or whatnot, right? Because, it's a journey
Because it's a
and we
journey. Yeah.
work with it, or we choose to opt out, we can.
Yes.
But part of the journey is working with it, right?
Part of the journey.
Or
Yes, it
dealing
is.
with it.
Dealing with
Yeah.
it, like weathering
Yeah.
through those storms and still remaining connected to yourself as you are weathering that storm. That is one of the hardest things to do. I feel like to stay anchored to myself, to not take the bait, to not like to think about the action that comes after I feel that emotion because I've been so unconscious in it for pretty much my entire life. I'm having this like, oh, I can control, make those different decisions. Corie, I'm wondering, speaking of decisions, if we could talk about boundaries as a spiritual practice. This is certainly something that is incredibly difficult for me to understand and to practice. And I think just generally, I don't want to speak about Asians as a monolith, but generally across our culture that is really collectivist, family oriented, and we're taught to really respect one another, especially our elders. Setting a boundary in that context can be extraordinarily difficult.
Yeah.
Can you unpack what that means for someone who struggles with guilt when saying no? Um,
Mm.
and how can overgiving really impact our physical, our mental, and our spiritual health? And I almost felt like you were kind of alluding to that too when you were talking about your dear colleague who had breast cancer. Hopefully she's okay.
Overgiving. First of all, the key question is why? Why do we feel like we need to give?
Mm,
Why do we feel like we need to overgive?
yeah.
Is it an obligation
Mm,
because we need to respect our elders or we need to take care of our family? Is it because you don't want to look bad? Which, if you can admit to yourself, is a very powerful moment
mm,
in healing and in your journey. The why is so important. And
mm,
I think when you can figure out your why, then you can really start unpacking more and seeing, okay, well, what do I need to do? Right. Then you
mm,
form a game plan and then you can really set your boundaries.
yeah.
Then applying is a whole nother thing,
Yeah.
especially in our culture, right?
Yes. Yes.
I like to practice micro boundaries.
More. What is a micro
I think
boundary?
going from saying yes and doing things all the time
Ah,
to saying no is too shocking.
I
And I
know.
think it's a good adjustment period for everyone.
Okay.
If you lay out a 4 week or 6 week game plan, I know it takes a little longer, but baby steps are good.
Yes.
It could be like, ultimately, my goal is to stop doing something for my mom. I'll use this as an example. So, my mom used to rely on me to help her do her tax returns.
Mm,
I was like, I don't want to keep doing this. This is too much. Every year we have to do this. It kind of sucks, right? Logging into my US bank accounts from here, like sometimes, it goes wrong because I'm based in the US and the banks like flag it. And then it
yeah.
becomes a
Or
whole,
you're based in Hong Kong, and then
I'm based in Hong Kong.
yes,
It's just so
it's
tedious.
exhausting. Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to stop doing this. And I don't want her to rely on me to do this every year. But
Mm-hmm.
I felt guilty that
Mm,
she's getting older. And, why didn't I set these boundaries early on?
mm,
Because I couldn't be bothered. I
yeah.
didn't want to explain it. I didn't really understand how to figure everything out all the time. So I was just like, it's just easier if I do it and I figure it out all together and do my return as well. And it just became a habit,
Yeah.
right? And so last year I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this. And I feel resentful because I'm like constantly doing
Totally.
something that I don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
And so to set those boundaries, I was like, okay, I'm going to give you the password for you to log in yourself. Or I'm walking her through. I knew I was going to spend more time building that foundation
Yes.
and then walking her through, right? And I just think it needs to be realistic, right?
Yes.
We need to work our way back down so
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
can implement something new here, a new
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
And I think for Asian parents, any parents really, but any parents who are getting a little old, who are, maybe a little bit more, too used to their ways, maybe a little stubborn, has a very certain strong point of view, and
Yes.
maybe it might be like, oh well, you're the daughter of the family, you need to take care of this, or you need to support your older brother because he's the eldest son, or something like
Yes.
that, right?
Yes.
Like, it's
I mean,
you're
yeah,
not going to change your parents, you're not going to change that point of view.
no.
Unlikely,
I've learned that.
unlikely.
I love my
You
parents, but yes.
can, and
Yeah.
if you're really lucky, you can.
Yeah.
If you're really lucky, they're willing to be open and willing
Yes.
to work with you.
Mm.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But most of the
Yeah.
time, no,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
we have to accept that,
Yeah. And that's
right?
so hard to do because you're just like, but you know what? You're making me think. First of all, I love that you position it as like practicing a micro boundary because you're right. Going from yes to like total no, like that is a huge difference. That can be a gigantic leap for many of us who it has just been, this is the dynamic it's been between me and that other person for so long.
Yeah,
And like the notion of setting a micro boundary that like breaks it down. It's like scaffolding. Like I'm a teacher, right? Like we think about how to scaffold a concept, how to teach a concept, breaking it down like baby
yeah,
steps in order for them to understand like the bigger picture. And so why shouldn't that apply to boundaries? And you're also making me think of something else. Boundaries is literally a spiritual practice. It
absolutely.
feels like this is protecting you, your time, your energy, and the boundary has to be so tailored to you and that person and that dynamic. Because hear all the time about like cutting your parents off, like you toxic parents or whatever. And, I hear that in like the social media ethosphere,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't,
I
like
dare you.
I dare you. Yeah,
I
especially
dare
like
you.
in an Asian culture. Are you kidding me? And like that's not the type of relationship I personally would want. I understand that there are some cases where you have to do something like that.
Right.
But and there are parents who should not be in your life. And I think that generally many of us in the community, we want to have that relationship. We just don't want it to be in the way it's been nurtured and
Yeah,
specified for
exactly.
us, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think boundaries is, if done right, if practiced right,
yeah.
is a beautiful form of communication. And there's so much
Mm,
love and respect.
yeah.
Like, if you, um, even if you cut someone out of your life, even if
Mm,
you cut a parent who's unfortunately an addict, for example,
yeah.
that is maybe you taking care of yourself, your family, but, and it seems cruel, but maybe you've done other things, you've looked at other methods and you've tried and tested everything, and maybe it came off as a form of enabling without you
Mm,
realizing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe cutting that person off,
Yeah.
even as devastating as it is the biggest form of love you could give that person.
Mm,
If you're true to yourself, right? I mean, you could be lying to yourself and being like, I just don't want to deal with that person and you're escaping. But
yeah.
I'm saying, like, if you wholeheartedly have tried everything else and it's not changing, and it could be the biggest wake up call for that person to cut
Yeah.
them off,
Yeah. Yeah.
it seems like a
Yeah.
harsh
Yeah.
boundary, but possibly the most effective and loving one at the same time,
Yeah. To
right?
both parties, I almost feel like,
Exactly,
to both
exactly.
parties. So it is. It's
It's hard. It depends on the situation. Everyone's different.
yes.
I just think you gotta, yes, you know what your ultimate boundaries are,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and, be clear with what those steps towards it, and the micro boundaries are, and whether those could be, maybe they are enabling to some degree, but the the point is to adjust, right? So that it
Yeah.
might be less enabling every step along the way,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
just think, like you said, going from yes, always yes, doing things, being dutiful and loyal and obedient,
Mm,
to saying absolutely no is
yes.
just too much.
Yeah.
And it can create, I mean, first of all, it's like shocking to anyone who's
Mm,
used to you doing something and suddenly having a big reaction or just saying no, which can be a very silent but very big reaction or powerful stance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that can invite a lot of anger. It can invite a lot of shame.
Mm.
Um, and I'm not sure that's necessarily the way that we need to go about it,
Yeah.
because it can be done in a more kind and compassionate and understanding way.
Absolutely. That's such a key thing too, to understand and to know the boundary, but and to deliver it in a kind and compassionate way. You're really making me think about this. Just goes back to the tailoring and understanding what is best for you and for your own energy, and to always listen to this, your intuition, like your inner knowing about how you want to feel in any sort of dynamic or situation, and to follow that, not to listen to the external voices like telling you like this is what the boundaries should be, or this is how the dynamic or the parent child dynamic or whatever the dynamic should feel like and look like. And no, it has to be, again, tailored to what makes you feel good, which
Yeah.
is not, and I'm going to speak for myself, but I'm wondering if this is true for like our culture in general. We're not really taught to listen to ourselves. We're
No,
to do what the external wants
no.
of us. And we're trained
And
that way.
unfortunately, our parents and generations above that, like,
Yes.
no.
Yeah.
The social indoctrination has always been
Mm.
elders are always right.
Yes.
You respect people who are older, you
Yes.
don't question, and you
Yeah.
just do it,
Oh my
you
gosh. Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that landed in different ways, right?
Yeah.
But that's why, yeah, like a lot of us now in this generation, we are privileged enough
Yes.
to actually explore another way to be on our journey. Like they're like, what journey? You know what I mean? Like
Totally. Totally.
my journey was survival, you know? Like
Yeah.
my journey was
Absolutely.
putting food on the table. And
Absolutely.
my Lord, like we're grateful for that. And because they went through all the hardship and sacrifices and um struggles, we're able to arrive where we're at now,
Yeah.
right? I wonder sometimes if, let's say my grandpa who's passed away,
Mm.
and I met now, like I I feel like he would be like, "Oh wow, you guys have gone pretty far." You know, like,
Mm.
and good for you. And maybe it made all that he went through or all that our elders went through more worth it. And maybe some of them are
Absolutely.
resentful, right? But it's
Yeah.
because of them, right? And it's
Yeah.
and it applies with every culture. It's not just
Yeah.
Asians, right?
Totally. No, absolutely. That's such a powerful point, too. It is. It's not something that's unique, certainly, to our culture. And to your point, yes, so many of the previous generations, they were in survival mode. And this might even, this is why it's so important to deliver that boundary with kindness and compassion,
Right. Because they didn't know
because they didn't know
better.
any better.
They
Yeah.
didn't have the same tools or resources or the same privilege to explore. Like they made that, in some way, indirectly
Yeah.
or directly, an option for us to explore. And, if I was, and I've had my moments where I was a rude teenager and I'm like, "Ugh, you don't understand me. You don't know me. Like, you don't know."
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yes. Totally.
Right? Where
Yeah.
it's like, "You don't know what I've been through."
Yeah.
You're like, "What?"
I
And
know. It's nothing.
and,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, we need to, if we can just really acknowledge
Yes.
that this is not something that we're able to achieve alone by ourselves. Like, credit needs to be given where credit is due. Like,
Absolutely. Yes.
it was because of collective history and
Yes.
collective suffering, collective sacrifices. And then, of course, the conditions of
Mm,
how things, our life setup has allowed us to be where we're at, to maybe open our eyes to look at ourselves
mm,
and we get to do the work alone, and that takes courage and responsibility. But I don't think learning something and then, let's say, throwing it in someone's faces, or face, like a rebellious teenager,
Yeah.
is the way to go about it. And
Yeah.
it's not about feeling better than someone. Like,
Totally. Yeah.
we sincerely were lucky to be able to be where we're at.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said that
Sorry, I'm being
no,
such a
it's no, no, no,
auntie.
no, it's you're right. No, it is.
Auntie in the house.
But it is, it's such a privilege. It's such a privilege to be able to contemplate what are my spiritual practices that are going to keep me grounded. It's such a beautiful privilege to be offered that opportunity. And you're right. It's in many ways our grandparents and all the previous generations really set this moment, this conversation up for us.
One thing I really want to mention is
Yes.
that even though it feels like our elders, the people, the generations before us didn't have, they might not be able to look at themselves in the journey in the way that we're doing it.
Mm,
I do want to say that there has been a lot of deep Chinese wisdom, or just Asian wisdom, in every
mm,
culture. I don't even want to just pigeonhole this as Asian, but I'm using this as an opportunity, as an example, where there's so much deep Chinese philosophy
mm,
in everyday sayings. For
mm,
example, I was talking about this one phrase in Cantonese, 选到橋頭自然
mm.
直. I don't know if you've heard of that,
No, I
but
haven't.
basically it means when a boat or a ship or a ferry arrives at the pier,
Mm.
it'll naturally align itself. It'll dock itself. It'll park itself.
Oh,
If you think about it, it's like, wow, what did it take?
yeah,
All the water, the waves, to like move the boat naturally to
totally.
where it needs to be. Essentially saying things will be all right. It's not within our control. The universe will take care of it. Everything will work out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And that's the sort of collective wisdom and spirituality that was accessible
Mm.
back then and still is now, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So our elders went through, are much more wise and have been spiritual, if you want to call it
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
but reflective
Yes.
in their own way, just shows up differently.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad that you shared that, Corie, because I think it is important to acknowledge and to honor the wisdom that does live in many of our communities, whether it's through philosophy or just, from previous, stories being exchanged around the table,
Stories,
even
yeah.
by from our grandparents. And when I say survival, at least, and when we talk about it oftentimes on Courage class, I think we talk about the unique sort of Asian American immigration experience as well. And that was very true for my grandparents. It was a story of survival. I know that that's true for many of our listeners in this community. And even though I know that our grandparents went through this, there is wisdom to be learned from their experiences as well. So I'm really grateful to you for sharing that. Corie, I wanted to circle back to a question over when we are overgiving,
Mm.
oftentimes this can impact our own physical, emotional, and spiritual health. How can you share with us how can overgiving show up
Okay.
in our daily lives if we are overgiving?
Yeah. I mean, earlier I mentioned why. Why do we do that?
Yeah.
But what I didn't mention is like how we respond to that, right? We
Yeah.
can say, yeah, I'm overgiving. I have to do it because I have to. And maybe that creates some suppression, right?
Yeah.
Usually, if you say, "Oh, I got it, I'm fine,"
Mm-hmm.
but you're really overwhelmed, that's also another form of suppression, right? Pretending everything is okay is not okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just creates more suppression.
Yes.
And over time, when we suppress more and more feelings
Yeah.
in our body,
Yeah.
it stays. Where can our body store more if it's already at capacity,
Yeah. Oh
right?
gosh.
Our
Yeah.
body releases naturally so much, right? If you exercise and your bowel movements and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But the bulk of it is still staying in.
Yeah.
right? So what do we do, right? So there's different practices, there's different ways to go about it, but if you don't take care of it, that's when sickness happens, conditions happen, chronic conditions happen, diseases happen. I've seen, specifically overgiving, I've seen so many women come in with breast cancer.
Wow.
Not even just come into me, people that I meet, aunties, whatever, I can for sure know that it has something to do with them overgiving.
Wow.
They are so good at giving love, right? But how many people like that are good at accepting, at receiving love,
Yes. Oh my God.
right?
Yes.
Because we're always fine.
Yes.
We don't need anything from you. We're here to take care of you. There's two things happening. One, you're lying to yourself. You're not taking care of yourself,
Yeah.
pushing yourself to a whole nother set of limits that your body probably didn't have.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
taking care of your emotions,
Yeah.
right? And then on top of that, the impact of the doing, of the more, right? That you're taking on those responsibilities.
Yes.
So there's a lot going on,
Yeah.
and the body doesn't know what to do with it. So over time, you could think of it as like that negative block is molding, and it creates something. Could be a chronic condition. It could be developing cysts,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is literally the body's way of making room, like
Mm.
creating more storage within its storage center. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it could be a shock. It
Yeah.
could be something really sudden that
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
where you have a heart attack or you have, and it's like the, you completely have missed all the warning signs and the body just went there.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there were definitely warning signs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then listen to them.
And that's why like it's so important to practice to understand what feeds you, what's good for you. To like you taught us earlier, it's so important that you have these practices so that you have the opportunity to return to yourself. And
Yeah.
like returning to yourself, it almost feels like we're supposed to be in like a more rested state. Like we're supposed to have that feeling of like
Yeah.
peace and calm. We're supposed to like continuously be going towards that. And this is why we have to draw boundaries or micro boundaries. We have to protect our energy
Yeah.
because
What is the point in
what is
doing all of that hustling to
yes,
then not even enjoy all that you've created?
totally.
And right? It's just
Yeah.
so silly. Like,
It
when do you enjoy? When you're old?
well that's I mean, I was talking to a friend about retirement earlier today and I was yeah, like it's like no, like we're meant to like enjoy like today,
In the
right? Like
moment,
we're
we
meant
can enjoy, the present moment. I think it's a cultural thing that I was raised at. Maybe it's something you could relate to and resonate
mhm,
with, and
mhm.
your listeners could too. But it's like we are meant to delay our satisfaction. Like, I mean, it's just like you work hard to then reap in the rewards,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that goalpost could always be pushed further and further
Yeah.
away to the
Yeah.
point where we're just not doing
Yeah.
that at
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah,
Totally.
that takes purpose away, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not giving yourself any
Yeah.
positive reinforcements.
Totally. And then by the end of like retirement, sometimes you're not healthy enough to like even take
Exactly.
advantage of the
Exactly.
joy that you've been delaying and the satisfaction and the levity that you're meant to
Yeah.
experience. You're meant to be living in that state. And I feel like that's why it's so important, like what you're sharing with us today. Again, if there's anything I have learned from you today, spiritual practices are tailored to you, what makes you feel good. If and when you decide to delay on that, that it can actually manifest into physical, mental, or emotional
Energetic,
deficit. Yeah.
emotional.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, I mean, just even as you were describing like overgiving, I just feel like that's something that like I've been experiencing in the last couple of years that I'm just actively trying to undo. So it just was so powerful. I feel like that's going to resonate with so many of our listeners, honestly, because it's something that, and you said specifically women, it's just not culturally, we're just not taught to prioritize our needs. You know, we're
No,
taught to pay attention and track
support.
everybody else. And it's how dare you? Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
any condition, any
Yeah.
disease, any, like
Yeah. Yeah.
what happened, right? What is your day to day looking like? What is your emotional health like every day that you're not looking at, or,
Yeah.
or that you're not being completely honest with, right?
Totally.
And to me, like if your emotional health is low,
Yeah.
it's going to continue manifesting that way with more negative energy box in our body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then energetically, emotionally, physically,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
all aligned. It's all like you can focus on one, but also look at the impact of the others, like the other sides of you
Yeah.
that, you're not looking at.
Absolutely. No. Thank you for saying that. Um, Corie, I'd love to move on to your work in numerology.
Okay.
Um, and how does numerology actually help us to tune into our intuition? And what is it exactly, for the listener who doesn't know, what is numerology? And how can that really help us?
I want to say, first of all, numerology has such a bad rep. It
Mm,
really does. I don't know why, but there's different systems of numerology. The one I practice is a very modern take of numerology. Numerology started ages ago. Pythagoras popularized it. Numerology is looking at numbers, and numbers represent different types of energy. So I like to look at it as a dictionary, but for numbers. When
okay.
you look at a number, it can give you different definitions,
Okay.
and it all relates to that one number. So number one means something, number two means something, and so on.
I see.
We look at a system from number 1 to 11.
Okay.
Depending on how the number shows up in your life, for example, through your birth date, we can make a birth chart, and there are 10 positions where different numbers land after we calculate your birth chart. And from we would really look at each position
Mm,
in detail. It's basically a blueprint of your life setup, of
okay.
your personality,
Okay.
of when you came into this lifetime and you chose to be a human in this lifetime.
Mm,
We like to say that our soul chose our birth date as a cheeky way to embed some memory or some information about what we're meant to do in this lifetime here. By using your birth date, I'll
okay.
create a birth chart for you,
Okay.
and then we analyze the numbers in each position and how it flows. Basically, we go through your earlier years, and life challenges that would have shown up, life lessons that would have shown up. Did you take care of those, or did you avoid those, or are you still taking care of them?
Mm,
And then we go into your later stages, maybe in, yes, when you were a young adult,
yeah.
right? Then midlife, and then what life looks like later on, and ultimately what it could look like as you get older.
Okay.
It also shows you a purpose path of how you could get there. Now, what I love about the system is that free will is very much involved in the readings
Mm,
here. So we like to say that there are suggestive ways to go about it. Once you understand the energy behind each number, you can build your own story to get to that purpose.
I see.
And it's not so much about you were born with this and this and this and this, so you can only go this one way. This is your destiny. That's it. Right. I love this because it's much more open,
Mm,
and it's really respects free will, and
okay.
we're able to exercise it in different ways that apply to us. So it goes back to spirituality being a personally tailored experience for you and
Mm-hmm.
for it to show up in different ways. And as we're talking about this, what I also want to mention is maybe a numerology chart can show you the ways that it has shown up, that the universe has called you or life lessons have called you,
Yeah.
but you didn't respond or you didn't wake
Ah.
up or you didn't notice. And I think it could be a wonderful checklist for us to
Mm.
look back and be like, what did I miss or what did I do? How did I handle that? Could I have done it better? How do I want to do it now with
Yes,
all that I know now?
I see.
And how would I want to respond to it in the future if I can?
Yes.
And we have this imaginary scenario. If I speak to this person who wronged me, then I'm going to say blah, 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 blah. And it might not show up like that, right? But
Mm.
we
Mm-mm-mm.
could maybe, again, get there with further steps.
Yes.
And I think numerology is a wonderful way to have a better idea with more awareness because it brings out a lot of
With more
awareness.
awareness. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
So
where,
once you have more
yeah,
awareness, then you can really look back
I see.
and
I see.
see how you want to move ahead as
I
well.
see. I see. And I love that idea of having free will inside of numerology because my friend and I were talking earlier today, a spiritual medium. She said that this person was very specific, like you're going to marry this person and it was down to what the person's going to look like. And she's not someone who's like really into like the whole spiritual, like she went to it because it was a recommendation from a friend and she was like, I'll try it. And I was like, well, what if you like a blonde person? It felt like there was no free will in how she moved in her life, and it was just like sort of a good laugh for her. That's how she like couched it
I think
as
that's brilliant.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Take it as a reference point,
Take it
I
as a
would say take
reference point.
anything,
Take
take anything.
anything. Corie, can I ask you if someone's ready to live a more intentional life, what's one spiritual habit you believe can truly transform their life?
Like, hands down, self-reflection.
Mm,
There's nothing more powerful than that.
okay.
Anyone can do it. It's free, like,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
completely accessible.
Yes.
It's just, are you willing? Are
Are
you
you
really
willing?
willing
Yeah.
to look at yourself and that experience, or anything,
Yeah.
like, that you
Yeah.
wanna reflect on honestly,
Mm,
and
man, that's
be
hard.
okay
Yeah.
with how ugly it could be,
Mm,
how ugly your part could be.
yes.
It takes a lot of courage to get there, so
Mm,
much. But
absolutely.
if you can do it, it's transformative.
It's transformative. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that moment when
Yeah.
someone's like,
Yeah.
"I'm ready to go to therapy," or
Oh,
that
yeah.
moment when someone's like, "I'm ready to do something differently."
Yeah.
It's similar. Again, it just shows up in a different way,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
if we're able to look at ourselves more honestly with self-reflection,
It's
wow,
powerful. Yeah.
so much can change.
So much can change. It's free. Like, but you have to be honest with yourself about what doesn't feel right in your life.
Yeah,
And you
can
have,
you stop blaming other people? Can you stop
oh,
blaming the
yes.
circumstances? Can you
Yes.
stop blaming this and this and this, right?
Yes.
Like, no. If
Yes.
you didn't respond to something
Yeah.
and someone took it as a yes or
Yes.
someone took it as a no,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not on them. It
Yeah.
is on you. Your
Yeah.
silence is was something,
Totally.
right? And
Absolutely.
so it's like, okay, well, how do I do better?
Yes.
Maybe I need to clearly communicate, blah, blah,
Yes.
blah. And it starts with even that if you're able to do just that,
Mm-hmm.
the way you communicate with everyone will start changing. Your relationships will inevitably start changing,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
And therefore, that is transformative. And
And
you
that is
can call it
transformative.
spiritual or not. It
Yes.
doesn't matter. The
Yes.
important thing is it helped you,
It helps
hopefully.
you. It's helping you return to your back to yourself,
And that's it.
your
That's
true
all.
self.
Like,
Oh
throw
my
the word
gosh.
spirituality out the window if you don't
Yes.
like it. Who
Yes.
cares? It doesn't
Yes.
matter,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love this. I love this conversation. Can you tell me what's one belief about energy or spirituality you wish everyone understood?
Mm. Seriously, being spiritual is not woo-woo. It
Mm-hmm.
is just being true to yourself.
Yeah.
And when you're true to yourself, you will align in ways that you just never expect. You didn't know it was possible. Spirituality to me is just taking care of your well-being. And that was mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, and energetic.
Yes.
That is the essence of well-being.
Mm.
And if we don't take care of ourselves, energy is the one that's the most ignored because it's invisible. I wish people knew that we individually
Mm-hmm.
are responsible for our own energy and for our own well-being. If we are constantly relying on other people to change or
Mm.
the conditions to change, we're not being honest. If we are able to own our part in it, things will change massively.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have to do that yourself. Because
Yeah.
even as a healer, I can't be in your body. I can't
Mm.
have lived your life and your experiences and what you were like at 3 and 6
Mm.
and 18 and 27. I have no idea,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I can only work with what I sense that has been buried in your body, in your emotional body, and support you in that
Yeah.
way. Ultimately, it's up to you and your willingness and your openness to be honest with yourself, to own the good, the bad, the ugly,
Yeah.
and do what you want to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautifully, beautifully put. That's some tough love, like right there. Like you are responsible for the change that you wish to seek. My last question: how do you personally define courage?
Listening to what you called it, the inner compass, which I love. That is your intuition. And doing the right thing, whether, for all those involved. I think it's not just about you. You got to look at the whole situation. And doing it for all is also doing it for yourself.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's not always easy.
Yeah.
I will also add, if you're willing to look at yourself in an honest way, that's by far, to me, one of the most courageous acts ever.
That's an incredible way to close out the conversation because it's not easy work.
It's
It's
not
actually
easy.
really scary to face yourself and to say, I've been taking good care of myself, and to start choosing things that nurture and serve you. When you are nurtured and when things serve you, then to your point, it helps everybody else around you. It's like a
And to me,
ripple.
that's the point of life.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of Courage Class. I hope today's conversation gave you a little encouragement and inspiration. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And for extra motivation, tools, and behind-the-scenes content, sign up for my newsletter. I'd love to share with you more there. See you next time.